So it's that time of the month again, and April's coming to a close, so we look ahead to what games are going to be coming out in May. Like I've said in previous videos, this year is shaping out to be one of the best years in gaming. March and April definitely have been pretty strong recently, and now we have May and June coming up, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. So if you're new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. Let's get into these top 10 video games releasing for the month of May. So first off, we got the big Xbox exclusive coming only to Xbox Series S and X and PC, and that is Redfall, coming out on May 2nd. So Redfall, it was supposed to come out summer 2022, but it's pretty much an open world first person shooter. It features both single player and co-op multiplayer modes. So recently, Arcane has said that they're working on getting it, so you're not always having to be online, which a lot of people don't like nowadays. All this DRM stuff and, live service, whatever. It's like, well, once they turn off the servers, or maybe you don't have internet connection for whatever reason, it's like now you can't play the game, even though there's single player mode. So they're working on that, but pretty much you can play among 4 different playable characters on the island of Redfall, which is in Massachusetts. So you can either play as a cryptozoologist and inventor named Devender Crusley, a telekinetic student Layla Ellison, no relation to me, combat engineer Remy De La Rosa, and a supernatural former U.S. military special forces sniper veteran named Jacob Boyer. So you can pick one of these different characters to slay different vampires and humans that are pretty much like cultists that celebrate and worship these vampires and things like that. And Redfall, we've seen it first at E3 back in 2021. A lot of people are excited for it. I'm excited for it. We got a lot of gameplay. A few influencers have gone out recently to play, get hands-on experience with the game and everything, and it looks pretty fun. Like, there's unique weapons, the different types of enemies, things like that. So hopefully they can figure out the whole solo versus multiplayer co-op situation, but it's shaping up to be one of the biggest games of the year and definitely one of the biggest games of May. So May 2nd, Redfall. Next up, on May 9th, we have the PlayStation 5 release of Ys 9. So the Ys series, made by Falcom, is a pretty famous action JRPG. I got pretty much hip to the whole series with Ys 8. Every time I was looking up like top Switch games or top JRPGs or action JRPGs, I kept seeing Ys 8 on there, and I did buy it for the Switch. I started it. I haven't gotten too far into it, but it's definitely a unique game. It's definitely fun, has a lot of open areas for you to explore, cool combat system and everything like that. So the description for Ys 9 is: renowned adventurer Adol the Red Kristen and his companion Doggy arrive at Balduck, a city annexed by the Roman Empire, only for Adol to be detained before their adventure can begin. While imprisoned, Adol meets a mysterious woman named Aprilis, who turns him into a monstrum. So the subheading of the game is Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. So that's pretty much where that monstrum word comes from. So a monstrum is a being with supernatural gifts and the power to exorcise monsters. So a lot of people were saying they do prefer Ys 8 to this game, but Ys 9 is still pretty good. But that monstrum whole mechanic, you see it on the gameplay, where you have different abilities. Everyone in your party has different abilities, so it kind of strays away from the traditional Ys games. But a lot of people have been looking forward to this release because the Switch version hasn't been getting that good reviews as far as how it runs and frame rate and things like that. But the PlayStation 5 version should be pretty good. Same thing with the Ys 8 version of the game that came out a couple years ago. So there is no standard edition from what I've seen for this game. The limited edition did sell out already, so you're gonna have to go to the secondary market if you want that. But the deluxe edition, which is going to drop for $50, is going to come with the game, of course. It's going to come with a mini art book, and it's also going to come with a CD soundtrack called Melodies of the Macabre. So pretty good for $50. And if you're a fan of JRPGs, don't miss this one for PlayStation 5. Ys 9 on May 9th. Then next up, we got the biggest, arguably, but almost definitively the biggest game release of the year, we have The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on May 12th. So, listen, I've said multiple times on the channel, I'm not a big fan of Breath of the Wild. I do plan to go back to it at some point, but there's no denying how many copies that game sold. Around almost 30 million copies of Breath of the Wild sold. And Tears of the Kingdom, it was first revealed to us that they were doing a sequel to Breath of the Wild back in 2019. It's been enshrouded in secrecy. We got a release date for 2022, but then that ended up getting delayed to spring 2023. So now we're finally getting that. The collector's edition, the Pro Controller, the OLED, all that stuff has been selling super high on Amazon and other retailers recently. And the hype for this game is just off the roof. We finally got a gameplay trailer where we're seeing, different abilities like Fuse, Ultra Hand, Recall, things like that. So it's definitely going to give a lot of people who are, whether you're fans of the series or not, just a lot of options as far as the open world and traversal and kind of making the game your own. And I think Nintendo really leaned into what they were seeing, what people were doing with Breath of the Wild. It was just people just using different abilities and the physics of the game to be able to travel or make different vehicles and everything like that. And they're just like, hey, you know what, we'll just make it a feature for you guys. So Tears of the Kingdom, it's going to sell crazy. It's going to be probably the best-selling Zelda game when it's all said and done. It's going to sell on the Switch too. It's just going to sell. That's all it's going to do. It's going to sell. It's going to review well. It's going to be probably like 95% of people's game of the year. So if you're looking forward to it, which most people are, May 12th, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Then moving over to the middle of the month, on May 16th, we have Amnesia the Bunker coming out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. So I'm not familiar with the Amnesia series, but this is the fourth installment in the series, and it does look pretty interesting. So the game is going to be set during World War I, where the player will take the role as a French soldier named Henry Clement as he tries to figure out the mysteries of the eponymous bunker while at the same time trying to find his way out. So Frictional Games, who created the game, describes the game as being semi-open world with elements of the game being randomized, allowing for greater levels of replayability. It deviates from past entries in the Amnesia franchise, but it also introduces several new mechanics such as a crafting system and the ability for the player to defend themselves using a revolver. So it seems to be a semi-open world, like puzzle, somewhat creepy horror game, and it looks pretty interesting. Again, it's not a game I'm super looking forward to, but this game kind of came out of nowhere for me, and I'm looking at them like, if this was on Game Pass, or maybe if it goes on sale, if it reviews well, I'd probably look into it. But fans of the Amnesia series, you can check out Amnesia the Bunker coming out on May 16th. Then we have two more games on the list coming out on May 16th. The next one we have is Trinity Trigger. So Trinity Trigger is going to come out on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Nintendo Switch, and it is a JRPG. So Trinity Trigger is coming from Exceed Games, and it's an all-new action role-playing game. So it's an action JRPG. It combines the look and feel of iconic RPGs of the 90s with an emphasis on fast-paced and customizable combat. Players take control of three young heroes as they attempt to defy fate and save the continent of Trinitia. Accompanying them are the Triggers, strange creatures with the unique ability to transform into 8 types of weapons that players must master if they hope to be successful on their quests. Whether playing alone or with up to 2 friends via local co-op, explore diverse biomes, dungeons, strategize to exploit enemy weaknesses, and change your destiny. So this game, I've been seeing a lot of coverage on it recently and a few months ago, and it's shaping up to be probably one of the biggest RPGs of the year. And for fans of JRPGs, you'll be able to log into this game. It kind of reminds me of Ni no Kuni a little bit as far as the little creatures in this game. They're called triggers. So, it looks pretty interesting. That art style, again, reminiscent of, classic JRPGs from the 90s. And JRPGs are having a real resurgence, especially on Nintendo Switch. So anyone that's looking forward to this game, you can get it on PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Switch on May 16th. And then the third game coming out on May 16th is Atlas Fallen. So this game, when I first seen it, I was like, this literally looks like a better version of whatever Forspoken was supposed to be. But the description for the game is: rise from the dust and liberate mankind from the oppression of corrupted gods. Glide the sands of a timeless land filled with ancient dangers, mysteries, and fragments of the past. Hunt legendary monsters using powerful shape-shifting weapons and devastating sand-powered abilities in spectacular superpowered combat. Target and gather the essence of your enemies to shape your own custom playstyle, forging a new era for humanity in a fully cooperative or solo story campaign. Rise from the dust, unleash the storm. So this game is coming from Deck 13 Interactive, published by Focus Entertainment, and it will be coming out on the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. So it's next gen or current gen only. And like I said, it did remind me of like what Forspoken was supposed to look like, kind of like Forspoken mixed with like God of War or Crackdown, like, if that makes sense, just like that style and how it looks. But this game looks interesting. Again, I'm kind of surprised because I didn't see any trailers or gameplay for this game. Maybe I was out of the loop. I didn't see anything for it till like a month or two ago, and it comes out on May 16th. So I don't know, it's coming out pretty soon. Hopefully it reviews well because it definitely looks interesting. So you guys can check that out on May 16th, Atlas Fallen. Next up on May 18th, we have Endless Dungeon. This game is a successor of the 2014 Dungeon of the Endless game. So obviously there's not too much creativity on the title and naming of these games, but anyway, the game is a tower defense twin stick shooter developed by Amplitude Studios and published by Sega. So it will be coming out on PC, PlayStation 4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and then a Switch port is also in the works, but no, solid release date on that. So in the game, the player must control a squad of 3 characters as they explore an abandoned space station. The game will feature 8 playable characters at launch, with each having their own unique abilities, weapons, and skills. If the player plays solo, they will only assume direct control of one character while issuing commands to the others. The game also supports cooperative multiplayer, allowing up to 3 players to work and coordinate with each other. So the goal of the game, and this is it kind of looks like a cyberpunk version of Minecraft Legends. So pretty much you have a goal, you try to get the crystal bot, and the game has 10 levels in it. So each forward display station is its own level, and you can, pretty much play through the game. It's kind of like a roguelite, which a lot of people like. Roguelites are really, popular nowadays. So that is Endless Dungeons, and you can play that game on May 18th. Now, getting towards the end of the month, on May 23rd, we have After Us. So this was another game I hadn't really heard about, but it reminded me, and what I saw in the comments also is kind of reminds me of like Journey mixed with like Sable, kind of. So After Us is a touching platforming adventure about human impact, sacrifice, and hope, where you'll need to navigate an abstract world and salvage the souls of extinct animals. The last animals have died, and Mother has used all of her life force to save their souls, now trapped in their vessels. Revive these creatures after learning their final fate: the last whale harpooned, the last eagle caged, and last deer hunted down, and more. Utilize Gaia's special abilities to survive encounters with dangerous oil-covered creatures known as Devourers that roam the wasteland in search of remaining life. In this emotional journey from the creators of the critically acclaimed Arise, a simple story, you alone can restore life to the planet. So when you look at it, it's pretty much like a post-apocalyptic and kind of realistic look at like where our Earth can actually be headed. There's a message here, obviously, as far as global warming, poaching, pollution, everything like that. And the game, like I said, looks super interesting. The art style looks very vibrant, pretty much going around and not only just trying to heal the Earth and save whatever is left, but you're learning about how those animals died. So it's kind of an educational game, but I definitely think this could win. I don't know if they're independent studio, but this could be up for like Indie of the Year or one of those, or platformer, one of those categories I can see at the end of the year. So if you're looking after if you're looking forward to After Us, you can play it on May 23rd on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC. Then second to last for the month, on May 25th, we have The Lord of the Rings Gollum. So this is a game that has gotten delayed a little bit, and some people I've seen aren't that interested in it, but they're deciding to put it out anyway. But it is a narrative-focused adventure game that centers on Tolkien's famous Trixie dual personality character and events that occur between Gollum's finding of the One Ring and the start of the Lord of the Rings story. So this is supposed to take place as a prequel, supposed to take place between The Hobbit and the first Lord of the Rings. I believe it's 8 years before the War of the King. So I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I've wanted to watch the movies, but then I realized I don't have enough time in my life to watch them. Again, I haven't seen too much interest in this, even from Lord of the Rings fans. Like, it's because you're playing as Gollum. So they've had other Lord of the Rings universe video games like Shadow of Mordor, which I actually have. Been meaning to get back to that one, but I don't know. The graphics seem really good, but a lot of people have been complaining about how Gollum actually looks. Like, some of the comments on the videos are like, he looks like my sociology teacher and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know how this game will actually do, how it will review, but I'm seeing this one getting discounted pretty soon. This will probably be a $40 game pretty soon. But for fans that are interested, you can play Lord of the Rings Gollum on May 25th. And then last up for the month of May, we have the reboot of System Shock. So System Shock, I've only heard of because of when BioShock was coming out, everyone said it was a, successor to it, or like heavily influenced to it. So there was a game called System Shock back in 1994, and this is the reboot to that. So this game will be coming out for PC only for right now. I'm not sure if plans of a port will be coming, but I'm sure there will be. But the game is set in 2072 in New Atlanta. So a hacker hacks into Trioptimum corporate network and is soon discovered and captured. And he gets taken to Citadel Station near Saturn, where Edward Diego offers a neural cybernetic interface in exchange for removing Shodan's ethical constraints. So Shodan is like the main enemy of the game. So if you've seen any sci-fi movie, Terminator, iRobot, Eagle Eye, anything like that, it's pretty much follows that. So Shodan is going to then, turn all the cyborgs and mutants and converting people and turning them to pretty much fight on their side, and the robots and everything like that. And you're going to have to, pretty much get out of there and save the day pretty much. So the game looks pretty interesting. Again, I don't play on the PC, so I won't be able to play it until it comes to systems. But, I've heard about System Shock as being this super revolutionary, influential video game. It came out in 94. I was born in 94. So, I definitely am interested in it. Eventually it will be coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series S and X. And yeah, what's there not to like? You got first person shooter, cyberpunk vibes, a little bit of Metroidvania, a little bit of horror into it. And yeah, I think fans of the game are definitely interested, and those who have never gotten to play it are definitely really interested in playing it. So System Shock to end out the month of May on May 30th on PC. And that wraps up the video, guys. So those are my top 10 anticipated games for the month of May. Y'all let me know in the comment section below what games did I miss, which ones are you most excited for, and then what do you think would be your game of the year? If you have an early contender for game of the year from this month, what would it be? Let me know in the comment section below. Leave a like if you haven't, subscribed if you have not already, and I'll catch you on the next video.